Hey guys, it's your girl Maya K, and this is how rejection saved my life. So, growing up in North Philadelphia, one of the things that the Lord highlighted to me as I'm writing my story now, which is part memoir and part self reflection with practical tips for young girls and young women ages 16 through 24 who are from the inner city and or raised in the inner city or who live in the inner city that want to pursue a career in entertainment. And this book is basically teaching young women how to pursue destiny without compromising their souls. And so the Lord was talking to me about the things He wants in this book. And one of the chapters He highlighted, or one of the parts rather, is how rejection saved my life. And growing up, we hear these cliches, right? Rejection is protection. Rejection is redirection. But when you're 13, 14, 15, and 16, you struggle with that. You don't understand what that means. And it can sting when you are the outcast. I went to an all-girl high school in Philadelphia, and I remember, feeling like an outcast. And I didn't understand it because I was a young, vibrant young lady, very down to earth. I had a sense of humor. I was the class clown, but I was also intelligent. So I spoke well. I articulated myself well. And oftentimes people will assume that people who reject you, that means they're jealous of you. But what if that's not the case? What if God orchestrated these pockets of time and these moments and these opportunities for people to reject you so that you can learn how to stop rejecting yourself? Often when we want to fit in and we want to feel needed and liked and accepted so much, it's because we have yet to accept something about ourselves, or we have yet to accept ourselves. And sometimes when God is trying to lay a foundation for you to learn to love yourself more, He will allow other people to see that weakness and vulnerability in you, and He will allow them to reject you so they don't play on it. You ever meet a woman and she says that she met a guy and maybe she shared and opened up to him maybe too soon, maybe she shared her daddy issues, or she shared what happened in her last breakup, and all he sees, if he's a toxic person who the enemy might be using, not all guys are bad guys, but he zones in on that and he sees the vulnerability and he says, she didn't have her daddy. Got her. She didn't have a good last relationship. Now I know what to say to make her think I'm different. Got her. And what happens is they began to play on that. And sometimes, unbeknownst to them, they just have a subconscious way of hurting you because, one, you don't even realize you're hurting yourself when you attach to this person, and two, they don't know any better. And so especially if you grew up in the inner city and you dated growing up in the inner city, you understand that a lot of these men are broken men without fathers in the home just like you. And so I say that to say, just using it as an example, a lot of times what happens is when those women and those girls rejected me, even when I was in my 20s in college, I would extend the olive branch. I would exchange my numbers with people, and I would just, why don't they call me? How come they're not reaching for me? How come they're not pursuing me? And God said, because I'm saving you and I'm protecting you. There's a tribe that is going to love you right. There's a man of God that's going to love you right. And it may take a while to get there. I mean, here it is today. I'm 38 and I still haven't met my future husband. And I'm still praying and yearning for a tribe of women who see me right. And God is saying, I allow people to reject you so that they couldn't play on that vulnerability that was in your life during that season. This is why it's so important for you not to desire attention, because when people say new level, new devil, the reality is, no, baby. New level, same devil. If you desired attention as a teenager and you were promiscuous with boys because you needed attention because you didn't have your daddy, when you turn 21, you'll do it in college. When you turn 30 and you get to the industry, that industry that you're praying for God to open a door in, you'll do it there too. So rejection saved my life because it taught me that God's yes is always going to be hanging over my life, but His no is just as important. So when He says, no, you can't partner with that person. No, you don't need to hang with that person. No, you don't need to build a friendship with that person. No, that guy may be a nice guy, but he's not a God guy. It's always funny how we love the good guys, but he's like, but is he a God guy? It's just like, I don't like good ideas. I love God ideas because I know God is in it. He's going to cover me. So take that into consideration, that rejection can save your life by, one, keeping people away from you that would play on that weakness that you have, play on that vulnerability that you have. They will take advantage of the fact that you don't know your worth. The second way rejection saved my life was by keeping me hidden when there were vultures out there. There were young girls I grew up with in North Philly, in a Philly period, that got pregnant at 13, 14, 15. And although I did get pregnant at 18 and I ended up having an ectopic pregnancy, I believed in his own way. When guys would just stop talking to me, they would stop calling, and I didn't know what was going on, there was this divine protection over my life because God was protecting my purpose. And the last way rejection saved my life is because it taught me to accept me. When you get rejected numerous amounts of times, don't always think you're being rejected because you're doing something wrong, or that you're toxic, or that you're a bad person. What if you're being rejected because the people who you want to accept you can't even handle your light? What if you're being rejected because they see the goodness in you and they know better? They know they better not ever play with that one because God's light is around her. I actually had a man say that to me one time. He literally said to me in so many words, if you wasn't like a woman of God and a believer and I didn't see God's light on you, I would have been like taking advantage of you. If, obviously if you would have let me, like if we would have been in a relationship. And I knew he was telling the truth. He had money. He was like a very, very well-off man. He had ways to basically get women to do what he wanted. He actually not introduced me, but showed me several women who, was in his world, and they would come cook and clean for him. And so I say that to say sometimes the Lord will allow rejection to save your life by pushing people away from you that would have used you. Because they know, wow, you are a great person. I can see it in you. You can do better than me. And sometimes you got to own that. So instead of feeling down and out and so hurt and crushed when there is rejection, sorry, I dropped my remote. When there is rejection, just let God purify your heart. Learn to love and accept yourself. That way, man's rejection won't sting so much because you'll understand that they were never part of the plan to begin with. Love you.